super lame.
Hey guys, welcome to Color Correction, and this is a show we fix, you guided the color of all Marvel MCU movies. And this week we are doing Captain America, the Winter Soldier. Hey guys, welcome to another new episode of Color Correction. This week we are covering Captain America's The Winter Soldier. Last week we went ahead and covered Marvel's The Avengers, and we did a lot of rotoscoping. This time we'll get back to the basics and just do some color correction with some different color correction techniques. Besides just using the regular auto color, the curves, using saturation, we'll go a little bit more deeper from the color correction tools that is integrated inside of Adobe After Effects. And then maybe we're going to start switching over to things like Magic Bullet and go back to a little bit more rotoscope. But to start off, all we got to do is go to our effects panel and just drop down the color corrections panel, which everything is in, alphabetical order. So drop down the color corrections panel and we see what we have. Now, one thing that I always will recommend is just throw down an auto color so you can see what you're going to work with or what you're trying to actually achieve in this picture. And you see basically the auto color, it removes that tint just like always. And then if we go to auto level, it does the same thing but brightens up the scene a little bit more, so you get more highlights on the scene and you get that little dingy tint away, so it looks a little bit better. But this time we are not going to use that. So what we're going to use this week, we're going to go ahead and go to our curves, and like I said, we still want that good contrast between our darks and our lights, and so we are going ahead and mess with the curves so we can get a good balance. Now what I always recommend is to find a good shot that you can work off of, and there's one scene in this elevator fight that actually does great comparisons right here. So this scene with Captain America and Crossbones, the reason why, because he actually has a black t-shirt, we have a shadow that's casting right here, and we got nice contrast from Captain America and the shadows that's right on his back. It's not a lot, but on his back inside should be darker shadows. And since there is light shining on the scene, we also have the shadow on the elevator, which should be a tad bit darker, not like black dark, but a tad bit. So we just want to go ahead and mess with the darkness value just to lower it a little bit. That right there is perfect. The reason why is because it gives us a little bit of darkness. It actually make his shirt actually pure black. So if I put the image sample on there, I should get 000 across the RGB scale, and there we go, 000. This is perfect. This is exactly what we want. And then you can go ahead and mess with the highlights, so you can brighten up the scene. And this does not actually touch the blacks. It's everything that's not the dark or focus on shadows. It's going to brighten up the scene. So we want our highlights to get a little bit of brightness, and voila, there we go. That looks a lot better. And what we can do here, we can also go ahead and mess with the different curves, set up different points, but we really don't need to do that. This is exactly what we need for the scene. It works perfectly. The next thing that we're going to do, and look at it, it looks way better already. When you look at this scene, just this shot particularly, if I remove it, and this is the real problem with Marvel movies, that it's so gray and has that little tint over it, it just doesn't look good. I mean, when you're watching it, you don't really tell, and the movies are amazing themselves, but when you actually go dive a little bit deeper, you start to notice things for what they are. And this right here looks so much better. You have better contrast, the colors pop out a little bit more. It's more relatable than what it is, besides having that gray filter that's on it. If you look at the glass, even the reflections in the glass, everything just looks great. So next we're going to go ahead and add right here vibrance. Basically what this does, this actually controls the saturation of the scene, but with the combined factor of vibrance, it allows us to actually balance the colors a lot well. So we're going to actually start to get the warmer colors to pop out on the skin and also on his costume. So if we mess with the vibrance, you can actually see his skin actually getting a little bit darker for how his skin should be. So right now we at 0, it's just super pale. Then if you brighten it up on the screen, you can see our colors actually start to glow a little bit, especially if you look back here in the sky. The reflections is phenomenal. So we don't want to boost it up a lot. We're just gonna go ahead and go to about 50 to give it a little bit of color, and we're gonna do the same thing with the saturation. We don't want to boost the saturation up high because it just looks like he's choking on himself or he's just eating something super hot. We boost up the saturation to about 25, 30, and just removing the effect, you can see it just adds that color to the scene. So we got some real nice definition when it comes to looking at Captain America. Next, what we're going to do is add our selective color. What this allows us to do is to actually control the colors of cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. Now, this is perfect when you're using images. The reason why, because most images, when it comes to printing out images, there are CMYK. Anything that's literally on the screen is RGB. But now with the new OLED TVs, the 4Ks, all that crystal dynamic display and all that crazy stuff, they are starting to switch from RGB to CMYK. The reason why is because with those TVs, especially these 4K HDR TVs and the things like the quantum dot display and the OLEDs, is that they have organic light, so you can actually get a crystal clear black. When you're looking at LEDs and LCDs, you actually have a backlit that's on the black screen, so your black is not 000, it's more like about 10. So it's like a little ashy black. Now when you're working with CMYK, since the lights are organic, when the light shuts off, it's showing the actual black image or black screen, so you got better contrast. And so this is why we're going to select the color. Now what we're going to do, we don't want to boost it up too high, because if we do, it just looks super funny. And just to show you, like the image, it gets a little bit dark. It just doesn't look as readable. So we want to kind of adjust it a little bit more relative, and just go ahead and reset it, and you see the difference there. The light that's shining on his face is disappeared. So I mean, the color doesn't look that bad, but we just missing a lot more detail that we could keep. So we just go ahead and switch it to 20 to both all four CMYK. And what happens is that we get the better shadow looks on his face, and back here where it brightens up at for the light, we got a better look. So this is something exactly we want to go for. And the last thing we want to go ahead and use is color balance. What this does is allows us to adjust, and this is the same thing that we used last time, and it allows us to adjust our shadows, our midtones, and our highlights. Our shadows are anything dark that's basically as a sound. Our shadows, our highlights, and anything light, and you know, basically what it is highlights. So just think of it as your whites and your blacks, and your midtones is anything color related. So with our shadows, we don't need to adjust those high. For our RGB and our shadows, we're going to set it to 5 each. Same thing when it goes to our highlights, set it to 5 each. The biggest thing we want to mess with is our color balance. We can set these to 10 each, and there we go. We have a better looking picture. And if you look at it, look at that blue. When you look at his outfit, the blue is like, it pops out a lot more. Like, I bet you this we will see if we was on the set with Captain America, but not this blue, because the color brightens up a little bit more. That's what we should see with Captain America. And when we're looking at comics, we see that dark blue, like it's that comic blue. Now if I remove everything, this is basically what we started with. It's honestly not that great when you start to add different things. We add the color balance, and this is basically what it does. This is brightens up and defines colors a little bit. But the vibrance here, you can actually see where when I added it, we get a little bit more to the brown and the blues and the reds. The vibrance just, you know, pops the color out a lot. And then, you know, when we add our curves, it just throws the contrast to the scene, so we get a real good look. And there we go. And see, without that color balance, it makes everything look a little bit dark. The color balance just, like I said, balances all together. So let's just go ahead and take a look at the final product of what we have for the fight, and just let me know what you guys think. Now, just starting off looking at the scene, you can actually see there is a difference from the color just by looking at the outside environments. And when we actually transition inside, when we see a lot more of the characters, such as, I want to say NPCs, but they are not, just the extra characters that Captain America is going to fight, Captain America himself, and also Crossbones, we actually have better contrast from the version that I edited. So the blacks are a lot blacker. We have that 0 or perfect black, that 000 on the RGB level, and we have better highlights. So the screen looks a little bit more, just more realistic, I want to say, as a word. No, I can't think of a real word to actually describe it. And the colors on the screen actually looks a little bit more colorful. Like the blue on Captain America looks a lot bluer. We almost got that comic book feel that we are trying to aim for with the series. They're trying to compare it best to what the comic book established, as far as better contrast when it comes to the blacks and the whites and all the different colors, vibrant colors from all the colors in the color spectrum. You know, just like that ink and pen look that we have when it comes to comic books, like everything just pops out at at you. And right now from what we have right here, everything kind of pops in your face, so it looks very good, and this is exactly what we want to go for. And you know, like I said, these are just basic tools that you have available that you can do, so when you make your own videos, you can make it look the best that you can. So if you have any questions, like I said, just let us know. We would love to help you guys out, and you know, and just come back next week, because we are going to continue the streak until we finish all the movies in the MCU, and then we're going to move on to our next series. Remember to stay lame. Hey guys, remember to check out our last video. To the left, you have the last video that we upload in this playlist, and to the right, we have the video before that. And remember, if you like this content, always feel free to give us a like, thumbs up, and subscribe by clicking on the little icon on this channel. Just consider it. And remember to stay lame.